What's going on, YouTube? Coyote HD. I'm finally back at it with another video. Today we're going to be installing the cams in the Mustang, along with some various other parts, oil pump gears, crank sprockets, some billet pieces to reinforce the stock ones. I got a couple other things that I'm going to show you guys later. But this is the car. I know it's been a while since it was featured on the channel. This is how it sits. For those of you that don't know, it is a 2018 Ford Mustang GT, and it currently has intake headers, and I'm running on a 93 tune. So JLT cold air intake, 1/7/8 inch catless headers by 2M Fabrication, and I'm running 3-inch angled exhaust dumps out the back. Currently running on a 93 tune. I have my base file for my 93 and my E85 tune from Lund for the cams. Just got to get those installed in. We're also going to be doing, like I said, billet oil pump gears, billet crank sprocket. I'm upgrading some timing components as well, as this car is kind of getting up there in miles now. But this is it, and I just want to put out there as a disclaimer, this video is going to be a longer one. I specifically do not want to cut by or cut out or jump ahead through difficult sections of the video. I was doing a lot of research on how to do this job, what tools you need, and just kind of get an idea of how it is from start to finish. And man, the amount of times I came across a video where, you know, the specific thing I needed to see, that I needed to learn how to do, or how to get past this difficult point in the job, you know, somebody would be like, hey, this part's going to be really hard to do, but all you got to do is this, and then it would just skip past it, and the next shot would be already done and off, and they're already moving on to something else, and offer up no information on how to do it. Not throwing a dig at anybody else, but like, if you're a guy like me who's trying to tackle this job, you got the tools, you got the time, and you're willing to do it right, you know, it can be frustrating sometimes to have that happen, because it was video after video after video until I finally found something. So I want to make sure that with this video, this isn't, you know, like I said, it's going to be a longer one. I'm going to put all those sections in there, just a couple ideas, like removing the crank pulley, getting that harmonic balancer off, the oil pump pickup 2 bolts. That's going to be in the video. I'm not skipping past that. Dealing with the fuel rails, you know, using the disconnect tools to take off the fuel lines and stuff like that. Just all those little things. I want to make sure that if even one person that watches this video is able to use this as kind of a guide, an idea of how to get it done, then it's going to be worth it for me. So anyways, without further ado, I already took up 3 minutes of the time. Let's get right into this. All right, so this is the table. I have quite a bit of stuff that's over here. Just kind of give you a quick idea. This is gonna be the fuel rail disconnect tool. It's gonna help get the fuel rail disconnected from the high pressure fuel pump on the 2018 and up vehicles. So I have that there. What's inside here is gonna be new VVT solenoids for the cam actuation and the phaser actuation for that. I got some ARP hardware. These are going to be the phaser bolts. So I'm going to be replacing the stock phaser bolts with these right here. All the part numbers are going to be on there as well, just so it's seen. This is more ARP hardware. This is for the cam tower bolts. So I'm going to be replacing, you know, for all the cam caps and the mega cap, I have these right here. So solenoids, disconnect tool, ARP hardware for the cam stuff. These are Ford Performance LU47 injectors. I have a new T-type water pump hose and connecting tool right here. Something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is, but this is for it connects to the housing for the thermostat and T-section for the water pump. Got some shop tiles, got a funnel for the oil, some gloves if needed. New crank pulley bolt right here. These are the cam filters. I got a bunch of those to replace the ones that are on the car, logos from Cam. These are my Comp Cam Stage 2 part number is the 433 430, and I'll flash that on the screen. Comp cams 433, 430. Those are the ones that I went with. We have some lubricants and silicone from Permatex right here. So this is RTV. I have some NECs. I have black gasket maker and some blue thread locker there. We have Lucas Performance Assembly Lube, a K&N oil filter, Ford Motorcraft 5W30. These two I'm going to be using to store the chains in oil. That's the oil right there, 5W30 Motorcraft. I got 10 cords there. We have some Ford Motorcraft Gold, some antifreeze coolant, because we're going to be draining the coolant system to do this job as well. Comp cams. These are my timing chains. It's the high-tech timing chain set. That's the part number 3042 Charlie Paul Golf. And then I have, this is my MMR camshaft turning tool that's inside there. These are new LED lights. Part number is going to be right there. You guys will see those in a minute. Just to improve some of the lighting, that's what those are in there. And MMR, we have my oil pump gear, crank sprocket is going to be in there as well. Yeah. Oil pump gear and crank sprocket is in that one. Crank sprockets in that one. And then I have a MMR lightweight water pump pulley. Set of black gloves. These are Iridium spark plugs. They're NGK 6510s. These are some LED lights to replace my interior lighting with. And as far as the table goes, that is it. So you have the MMR stuff over there. I'm going to be operating chains, oil pump gears, crank sprocket, lightweight water pump pulley, all the oil, the filters, assembly loops, the cams themselves, LE47 injectors, the VCT solenoids. I'm going to be replacing those, and all the rest of that stuff here. I'm going to get the chains soaking in some oil so that they can be nice and lubricated when we go to put those on. And then we're gonna go from there. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Just one more thing I wanted to show. I have all the timing chains right here, soaking in oil for Motorcraft 5W30, so they can get well saturated. Just wanted to put that out there. All right, so first step is gonna be to disconnect the battery terminal, access it by taking that cover off. We're gonna get the battery disconnected so that when we start tearing this thing apart, we don't got anything in our way. I'm also gonna be removing some of this stuff right here. Get that stuff out of the way so we can have access to the rear cam cover bolts. Cam cover is this big piece right over here. It's also containing the high pressure fuel pump and some of the other hoses and wires. That's what we're gonna do first. All right, just to give you an idea of where we are. This is just taking components off. The battery box itself, removing the battery, taking that off, obviously pretty straightforward. There's 3 screws down at the bottom. They are 10 mils. So you remove those. They're pretty long screws through, so you take some time getting them up out of there. And then we have 3 10mm screws that couple the brace of the battery box to the frame of the car. And then there are 13mm screws, like these two are 13s, and then there's another 13 here, and then back underneath. So this one right here is another 10 mil. I don't know if you can see it down under there. There's another 10 mil under there, and then one right back here, 10mm. And then that gives you, we get all this stuff out of the way, and you got access to the cam covers on the direct injection pump side. So just a little tip in case you want to clear that up. All right, so to get the wiring harness all the way off, obviously you disconnect the injectors, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Injectors need to come off. All of these little clips, the tabs pull up and then you slide them back. That clips here, go back in there, back in there. I'm gonna need to undo that, which is connected to the high pressure fuel pump. We'll probably just unscrew it. Looks like a little plastic piece down there. But yeah, you just work your way down, start undoing all these. You got your big one there, it goes into the fuel pump itself. This green one goes here in the middle. This other one goes right there. All your connections. And then the wiring harness, I don't know if you can see it, will plug in right in there. You flip this little gray tab back, flip it back, and then where it's open, you just flip that back, and then you can pull the wiring harness off. And then you also have to unplug this guy, who's plugged in. Where's it at? Right in here. All right, with the wiring harness up and tucked out of the way, everything else up out of the way, I'll deal with the fuel pump in a second. We have 10 millimeter bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Down underneath here, you have 2 down there, 8, 9, and behind, let's see if we can get that up in there. That's 10 right there. So I'm gonna be using a combination of my drill and ratchet, so I can get up into some of the tighter areas down there, so I can get this cam cover off. All right, in order to gain access and more room to work with in the front hand side, I'm gonna remove this shroud and some of the lower shroud, that stuff down there, so I can gain access to drain the coolant. I got the oil drained out of it right now, so we're gonna do that step next. And I'm gonna pull up all these little pull tabs right here, right there, and get this thing out of the way. All right, so I'm taking the belly pan off. If you see all these screws that I have right here or underneath, there's 7 mils. I just had a 7 mil little end here. I just put on the end of the drill, all the way down. Take them off. There's a bunch of them. I don't know, 10, 15, something like that. But there's 7 mils all the way across, and then you have the pull tabs that are connected to the inside of the splash guard in the wheel well. So I just got to pop those out, and this belly pan can come off, and then I can get up under here and drain the coolant. Up underneath the car, underneath the splash shield over here on the bottom, after you take all those screws out, when you want to drain the coolant system, there is this little tab that's right here. Twist it to the left, and it will drain the coolant out of the system. You should get yourself a bucket. Let it pour down in there. All right, so now what I'm doing, I used a pair of channel locks to press and pull on that one in there, and I'm gonna do that one down there. I'm gonna keep this hose together as one complete piece, pull that one off, and then we're gonna take the belt off by using the tensioner pulley down there, get the belt off, and then we're gonna work on the water pump pulley. Gonna get that sucker off so that we can take off the water pump and then attack the driver's side cam cover. We're gonna get the wires off, gonna get the injectors unplugged, gonna get all that cleaned up and out of the way, and then we will come back to the harmonic balancer pulley down at the bottom. All right, so now with the main hoses out of the way, this is where we are. Got the wiring up top, sitting there out of the way. Still got to pull the wires off of this side. What we're going to do now is take off the belt, and we're going to do that by getting a 15 mil, placing it right here. The tensioner belt, we're going to pull up this way, and then the belt will slide off. I'm going to pull that off since I only got one hand to work with. I'm going to pull that off, and then we'll jump right back to it. All right, so when you're at this point, we want to break I got the 10 mils all the way around. Some of them you do need a deep socket because you can't reach them. They got a screw kind of protruding through the nut. So 10 mils all the way around, 10 mils all the way around on both sides. I got the cam covers off. Now I'm working on taking the timing cover off. This belt right here, you want to leave this on so that you can break these bolts loose. These are also 10 mils. I got them nice and loose. Here, there, and there. And then you can raise up on the tensioner. The tensioner uses a 15 mil. Pull it up and to the left like that, and then you can take this line off. So here is the original water pump pulley next to these MMR lightweight water pump pulley, and there is quite a bit of difference. This thing feels super light. This definitely has got some weight to it. I'd have to weigh them to see the exact difference, but just off of feel, yeah, it's much, much, much lighter. I mean, featherweight. All right, next we got 10 mils all around the water pump right here so that we can get this thing off. So you got the top there, there, there. That first one, because the back one is going to be the timing cover, and we have this one there. There's two here. You got one on the left on the top, and the bottom right's the timing cover. Left on the top one. That's what we're going to loosen. All 10 mils. All right, so I'm working on the timing cover. We have 10 mils going around. I'm not sure if there's another bolt that's going to be different, but this one up here is going to be a 13 millimeter. It's the one that also has the separate bolt that keeps this piece adjoined to it. But that's a 13 right there, and then should be 10s going around. I'll inform if there's another one. All right, we're back here in the engine bay, and I just want to share this with whoever it may help. I was looking up different ways on how to get the crank pulley bolt loose when it's in the motor, because obviously if you put your wrench in there and it's an 18 millimeter right here. See this? This is an 18 millimeter bolt, and I was trying to think about how to get that bolt loose so that I can use the puller that I got from O'Reilly's to, remove the harmonic balancer. And I'm like, man, how am I gonna get that loose? Because if you turn it down to the right, it turns the motor over. Turn it to the left, just turns the motor over. I was looking up belt tricks for the tightening method, and it's basically you take your serpentine belt and you wrap it around this side, and you basically curl over. So if you take the belt, you're folding it over. Let's see if I can do this. So I'm trying to do this one-handed. You basically curl it over like this on the one end, and let's say the balancer was here. When you're tightening it down, it catches. So it wants to rotate over like that. But if you have a wheel here and you have the balancer there, there's going to be a point where it bites, and then it gives you some grip strength so that you can actually pull that stuff out of there. Or so you can tighten the pulley down. But for me, I needed to loosen it, which means I got to turn it counterclockwise. And in order to do that, I took the same serpentine belt and I sent it around right here. And I don't know, I'm gonna try to see if I can get this on video, because this was holding me up. I'm not gonna lie. I had to stop one day when I was running out of daylight and come back and look at this again. I just wrapped it around, so around on this end, I have the belt going all the way around. And you know, it's a real long belt, so I basically had to fold it over in the same way that I told you, but instead of, when you're trying to tighten it down, getting this second piece to go underneath, so that when you're cranking down towards the right, it catches there to allow you to tighten it. I flipped it up and I folded the excess material to run along the top. And since the belt is so long, as it was going, what I would do is down here, I would take and pull out the slack and just keep feeding it up through here. So it'd come out here, I'd pull onto the belt some, and I'd lift it up, and underneath this top piece, I'd keep pulling the bottom piece, because there is the belt going around right there. I just kept feeding this back through the middle until it got tight. Once I had it pretty decent, I stuck the wrench down in there, and let me go find it here. No bullshit, we'll do it live. 18, I'm going to loosen it up. 18 mil, look at this. I've already broken it loose. I couldn't fucking believe it. That first one, you're gonna get the tension on there. You're gonna be like, pushing on it, and then it gives way. And look here. Motor still in the car. And crank, pulley, bolt, broken loose. Just gonna unscrew it here. Got a lot of threads. Other hand in there. Dude, oh, I almost dropped the washer. Look at that. Crank pulley bolt is out. Washer is out. Now I can get my jaw puller in there and actually get this thing out of there and start hammering out this job. Just wanted to put that out there. Hopefully it can help somebody. I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, now I'm gonna be taking off, these are 10 mils, taking off we're gonna get all the pulleys and drives off, take the belt out, all these things are coming out, so I'm gonna take this one off, take this out. We're gonna get these all loosened up so we can start prepping to take the balancer off and the timing cover. taking out the bolt for the alternator. It is a 7 mil. Holding that in. So we're gonna get this unscrewed. Alright, got that out. I'm gonna put that in a bag with the timing cover bolts. Alright, so I just went through just so I wouldn't have to fight the compression. Took all the spark plugs out with a spark plug removal tool. It's a 5/8 on a little swivel. It's got a magnet in it. These are the plugs. Relatively one for what you'd expect for 100,000 miles, 106,000. This is the only one right here. Got a little bit of extra corrosion built up. That came out of this second one. So the tubes look on the inside. But now, down here, I got the other timing cover bolts out. Mixture of 10s and 13s. There is 3 10mm bolts down here. You got one here, one here, and one here. And this one was the 13. But I'm working the last one out. Just getting it loose. What I did to break them loose was I took the socket because I couldn't get this side was a little easier because of the clearance. I was able to get just the wrench and the socket in. But down here, because of the proximity there, it was hard to get the wrench and socket combination in there. So what I did was I put the socket in down there like that, and I'd take a pair of channel locks from underneath the front sway bar, and I would clamp down on it, and I would just rotate it that way. That's how I got these loose. I'm just finishing this bolt off. Kind of an awkward angle, but I'm sure there's another way to do this, but this is just what worked for me. All right, timing cover's off. We got to get the keyway to 12 o'clock so we can put the cams in neutral, and then we're going to take the timing tensioners off. We're going to take the timing chain guides off and start undoing all these components so we can get these cams up. All right, now I have my crank keyway at 12 o'clock. The R on the passenger side is up. These are the cams are going to take off first. We can get the timing chains and the tensioner off on this side. We start off taking the tensioners off. They are 8mm. Just get them broken loose. All right, now over here, we're gonna take out this bolt for the upper guide. It is also a 8mm. We're gonna get something on there, break it loose. All right, then we'll take that out. Those came out pretty easy. No fuss, no muss. So we can take off this timing chain. This was the bolt from that one. I'm gonna put those with that as well. This is a much larger bolt for the left side. We're gonna take off the passenger timing chain. Since we got some slack, that can come right out. Doesn't look too bad to me. I don't see any grooves or scoring. Anything that would tell me something about this chain. I do have replacements, so I'm gonna end up replacing these anyway with the Comp Cams high-tech timing chains. Dropping replacement again. These don't look too bad, but you know, 106,000 miles. I'm going in here anyway. I figured replace what I can. So that means that the chains will be off this side. When I get this side rotated around, we're gonna be rotating the keyway to 5 o'clock, which means the L, let's see if I can get two in here. The L, there's the R, so right here behind that wire. Sorry, get lined up. The L is going to be pointing down here, just about where the end of that spring is. When we move it to 5 o'clock, and then I'll be taking off this side. We can go at the phasers, take the phasers off, and then get into replacing the cams. All right, so now that we got the chains off, I took the chain on the outside cam, took that one off. We're going to rotate the keyway. Again, current keyway is this line right here. We're going to rotate that to 5 o'clock. And then our L, which is currently up here, should be playing right around there. So that way we can take off the other side and get ready to replace the cams. All right, now the keyway is at 5 o'clock. My L is right about there. I'm gonna take the tensioner off on this side, take the guides off on this side, take the chain off on this side, so we can get into the cams. Loose. 8mm again. Get this one out of there. Tension is pushing against that plunger. And that's this one. Factory Ford tensioner. This right here, I'm actually going to put it in a bag to keep all these pieces together. Oh, I didn't want to stay there. Well, we'll get that in the bag. This guide will slide right out right here. Right side guide. Then we have another 8mm down here. Break that loose. Once she's loose, it gets moving pretty good. Got that out of there. $8mm bolt for the chain guide. a little bit longer than these screws, so I won't get that confused. And then this bottom guide should come out. Hello? I'm gonna get 2 hands for this one. All right, so now I just gotta take off the driver's side chain. Just work it over the teeth. Slide it over again. Looking at this chain, I don't see anything crazy. No broken links. I mean, this is the first time I'm getting in maybe a little bit of scoring. I don't know if those are just, see if they can focus. A little bit of scoring maybe. The age, I don't know if that's like a printed icon on there or if it's just scoring from the chain going around. But I know the new chains, I don't think, quote me, but I don't think it has that. Like I said, 106,000 miles. I wanted to freshen up the chains, so we're gonna do that. So these are going to go away. All right, so with both sets of timing equipment off, timing chains are off on both sides. We're gonna remove the crank sprocket. So I'm gonna take the crank pulley bolt, take that loose. Not taking much force. We're gonna get this off, and then I'm going to take off the crank sprocket, and we're gonna get the oil pump off, get ready so we can change out the oil pump gears to get the billet crank sprocket from MMR and the billet oil pump gears from MMR as well. Gonna get those. So let's get that stuff removed. Original crank pulley bolt. I have a new one of those as well. All right, so this is the factory crank gear, all removed. Looking at it, don't see nothing crazy, which is good. No crazy wear or damage. That's what I would have wanted to see. If I saw something crazy on this, wouldn't be a good thing now, would it? But we're gonna replace this piece with a billet piece from MMR, and let's continue on. All right, on a Gen 3 Mustang, in order to get the oil pump off, I need to drop the oil pan in order to get enough separation between the oil pump and the pickup tube, so that I can get the oil pump off. I'll wait till I get these dropped down, and then I'll loosen these bolts up and get the pump out so we can do the oil pump gear installation, and we can also do the crank sprocket installation. Like 8mm bolt on the oil pump. Break those loose. Let's just break this one loose. These, that's a Torx, that's a 9mm. Oh man, that aluminum sharp. Alright, so here's the breakdown. You have 8mm, 13mm, 8mm, 9mm. Alright, so now if I got all the oil pan bolts dropped, we can see if I can do this with one hand. Take off oil pump. Pan it dropped, bolts are loose. I kept the 2 in the back so I can kind of steady it and help me get these bolts back in there. And then right here we got the oil pump. So let's go replace the gears and move this thing right along. All right, next we have 8 bolts They're T30s. So break them loose. Oh my god. Let's get torque on them. Alright, all the T30 Torx bolts out, and now we finally have the oil pump gear. Stock gear, slides around in there. Looks like it's got good contact. I'm gonna take this right out and replace it with the billet oil pump gear. All right, do this in one shot. These are the MMR gears, and the stock cast gears, billet gears, of course, for added strength. All I'm doing right now is adding oil to the outer gear. Make sure it's nice and lubricated. And drop it inside the oil pump. MMR facing up. Same thing with the inner gear. MMR facing up. I just kind of want it to settle in there. Should be able to free spin. Lubrication in there. Make sure everything sliding around just fine. Alright, looks good. Put a little pump gear in. Now, we got to leave out on the side of the backing plate. All those components, just gonna run my finger in there. Bucket, I have the chains soaking in. Get the backing plate looped up. Sure, got oil everywhere. Close this back up. There we go. Now we can put our bolts back in. Eight bolts, just setting them in. Finger tight. So what I'm gonna do now is just get them snugged up. Get them snugged up, and then I am going to torque them down. I'll let you guys know what the torquing procedure is on that. All right, oil pump back on. All right, so what we're going to be doing now is taking loose the bolts here on the cam phasers. We're going to be using a 15mm socket for this one and a 10mm socket. One that looks like this with ridges that match cam phaser bolts. All right, so I got the cam phaser bolts broken loose. We're going to take these out, place them with the ARP hardware, and get these phasers off so we can take these cams out on the driver's side. All right, got the bolts out. Now we're gonna pull off the cam phasers. All right, so I got the mega cap off, and now it was 4 8mm bolts. Now we're gonna take them off. I'm gonna just do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Since I got the mega cap off, I'll just take them off in the same way that you would install them and torque them down in that vertical out-in pattern. All right, so I got the lower caps off. I kept them all organized over there. And they are numbered as well. So it goes 1, it goes 2, 3, 4, 5. This is gonna be, this mega cap will be 6 and 1. So you got 7, 8, 9, and 10. You wanna keep them all together because they're honed to be perfect circle. All right guys, so I'm gonna prep my area here and get ready to drop in my cams. I'm gonna start with the left side, left intake and left exhaust. These were the original cams that came out there, and this is the ARP hardware we're gonna be installing for the cam tower bolts. Gonna get everything lubed up and then get these cams put inside. All right, just like I did with the first one, just gonna add a little lubricant. The cam journals. I'm gonna be doing that to the cams as well. Let's get the exhaust cam put in there. All right, I got the Comp cams, stage 2 cams, part number 433430s installed. Here's where my notches are, right here. And in here, I'm gonna be replacing the factory filter with, I got a new one. I had ordered it out. These things are only a few bucks, and I just figured new cams, let's get some new filters in there. So I'm gonna place that in here. It goes open side. So this open side, this side is facing you, slides right in there. So I'm gonna get that installed. All right, so now part of getting these cams bolted in, I'm gonna be using this ARP hardware. These are the cam tower bolts, so we can get all of these screws replaced. I'm gonna replace them with the ARP hardware and get them buttoned up. All right, Comp cam stage 2s are in. ARP hardware bolts are in there. We're gonna be torquing these down to 90 inch-pounds. Each one of these in the following sequence. We're gonna start in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, here are the phasers. As you can see, I got the colored link right here on this side, and then the 2 colored links straddling this one on this side. We're gonna go ahead and install those on. All right, both sets of cam phasers installed. ARP does 180 inch-pounds for the ARP bolts, and this is 30 foot-pounds loosen, and then 20 foot-pounds plus 45 degrees. Same thing on this side. Timing marks here. If I can get its focus there. So I'm gonna get the passenger side chain on, and we'll start finishing the timing. All right, when doing the tensioner, I used a vice grip, compressed the plunger down, and while it was still in the tensioner, these 2 holes, if you flip it up, there's a hole on top right here, a hole on the bottom, and they hold the side of the tensioner plunger. I just used the skinny Allen key, stuck that down in there. I'm gonna go assemble this on the car, and then I'm going to pull the pin and let the tensioner go. All right, now we gotta do, keyway is at 5 o'clock. I gotta do 1 full revolution to 5 o'clock again, and then up to 12. All right, so now I got everything back in time. Links are all matching up. Crank sprocket down there. Phasers on, torque down. So now we're gonna start reassembling this thing and get this puppy back together. That is the timing all done. All right, now that the motor is all time, chains are on, oil pan bolts reattached, torque down, and I got some gasket maker in some key areas. It's time to put the timing cover back on and get this thing put back together. Just going through and replacing the VVT solenoids inside the timing cover. This is the old one, this is the new one. It's got the silver cap, comes with new screws and a plastic washer that goes down here to help keep it seated, and they are 10 mils. I apologize. 8 mils are the original. The ones that I got to replace them come with 10 millimeter bolts. So 8 mils to take them off, which would be these. These are 8 mils, and then these are 10 mils. All right, now we're gonna put the timing cover back on. I got my VVT solenoids replaced. I just got to take the crank pulley bolt out in that washer so I can slide the timing cover over top. And then I got to get these 4 screws down here back inside. And man, this thing's going to start coming together. Hopefully we'll be starting her up soon. All right, timing cover is on. I just got to get the bolts in there. And I don't know if I'm supposed to, forgive me if you're an expert and you're seeing this, but I'm going to turn the keyway back to 12 when I put the harmonic balancer back on, just for, you know, I don't know. I want it at 12. If you're supposed to, then hey, great. Then I'm already on the right track. And if you weren't supposed to, then yeah, so be it. But at least it'll be back on there. This thing's coming together. I just got to get the bolts back in, get the water pump on, throw the MMR water pump pulley on there, accessory drive, all the belts, pulleys, and the cam covers. All right, it's starting to look like a car again. All right, other drive belts on. Water pump pulley needs to go on. I'm gonna put on the MMR water pump pulley. I got the 3-bolt variety. Some of these are 4-bolt. Mine was a 3-bolt, so I got a 3-bolt pulley. And then we're gonna finish up the front here. After that, after I get the water pump pulley on, I'll probably put the cam caps on and then finish with the harmonic balancer. All right, I'm doing the spark plugs. Here's where we are with the engine. Starting to hook the wiring harnesses back up. Still don't got all the injectors hooked up. But just trying to put her back together. The balancer is not installed. I actually still have to install that. I'm just kind of setting things into place so I can get this thing ready. Spark plugs are going in. I'm doing NGK 6510s, just like, for the focus, just like it was shown before. So we're going to put those in there. Essentially, I have my tool for the spark plugs. Looks like that. It's on a swivel. It's got a magnet on the inside. Pretty sweet. Stick that down in there. And I'm not snugging them in. I'm just placing them. Get them down there. Get them seated. Push them in. I'm going to give them a little hand tight. And then we'll go back around and torque them down. But for right now, just a little quick setup. I'm going to go around and I'm going to do that with all of them, and then I'll catch you up in a minute. All right, we're down to the fucking wire here. This is the harmonic balancer install kit. It is the EverTough long reach harmonic balancer pulley installer for GM, Ford, and Chrysler vehicles. Part number, see if we get it to focus. Part number 67306. I used the intermediate length bolt. I slid the comboed nut and washer on there, threaded it. This is a 18 millimeter I'm using on the end of the installer bolt, and then I just kind of holding it with one hand. I don't have a big set of pliers, so I'm just using channel locks to wrench it, and it is putting the balancer on. And this balancer has been a pain in the ass for multiple reasons with the removal, but this install, right tool for the right job. Go pick up this part. Again, ever tough, long reach, harmonic balancer pulley installer for GM, Ford, and Chrysler vehicles. This works for the 2018 Coyote Mustang. It's working for me. I got a little bit more wrenching to do so we can get this thing fired up. Part number 67306. All right, she is buttoned up. I just filled it with a little bit more coolant. I'm gonna start this thing and we're gonna see how she sounds. Let's do it. All right, gonna be starting the car with the LU 47s. Gonna get the gauges on. Here we go.